What if the item you packed to make your cruise more comfortable is the exact item that gets confiscated before you ever board the ship? Cruise carry-on rules are not airline rules. They are stricter in some areas, completely different in others, and the cruise line will not warn you in advance. They will simply remove the item and hand you a form. We are counting down 10 carry-on rules that catch first-time passengers off guard, and several that surprise experienced cruisers too. Number 1 is the most important, and we are saving it for last. Stay until the end. Your first day on board depends on it. If this is useful, hit like and subscribe, and drop a comment telling me where you're sailing next. Now, let's get into it. Number 10. Alcohol policies are stricter than most people expect. Let's start with one of the most commonly misunderstood carry-on rules on any cruise ship: bringing your own alcohol on board. Many first-time passengers assume that because they are adults boarding a ship they paid for, they can bring whatever beverages they like. Most cruise lines disagree with that assumption, and they enforce their policies at Embarkation security with no exceptions. The standard policy across most major cruise lines is that each passenger may bring 1 bottle of wine or champagne, typically 750 milliliters, in their carry-on bag at embarkation only. Beer, spirits, and hard liquor are almost universally prohibited in carry-on and checked luggage alike. If a prohibited bottle is found, it is confiscated. You do not get it back until the end of the cruise, and in many cases, you do not get it back at all. This is where many travelers get it wrong. They pack a bottle of their favorite spirit as a treat for the balcony, assume it will slide through, and are genuinely surprised when it doesn't. Security screening on cruise ships uses the same X-ray equipment as airports. Liquids are visible, bottles are recognizable. The quick rule is this: check your specific cruise line's alcohol policy on their official website before you pack, not after. Exact steps: search your cruise line's name followed by the words alcohol policy carry-on. Read the current policy, as these change periodically. If wine is permitted, wrap the bottle in a soft garment inside your carry-on to protect it, and carry it yourself rather than checking it. Do not attempt to disguise spirits in other containers. That results in confiscation and, on some lines, a note in your passenger file. Knowing this rule in advance means you arrive at the pier relaxed, not scrambling to hand off a bottle to a stranger on the dock because you have nowhere to put it. Number 9. Power strips and extension cords. What's allowed and what isn't. Cruise ship cabins are notoriously short on electrical outlets. A standard stateroom might have 1 or 2 outlets near the desk and a single outlet in the bathroom. For couples traveling with phones, tablets, CPAP machines, cameras, and reading devices, that is simply not enough. The instinct to pack a power strip is completely understandable. The problem is that most standard power strips are not allowed on cruise ships, and many passengers find this out at security when the item is pulled from their bag. The reason is fire safety. Standard power strips without surge protection can overheat in a ship's electrical environment. Cruise lines prohibit them specifically because of the fire risk in enclosed cabin spaces. Most passengers don't realize that there is a permitted alternative. Cruise lines generally allow surge-protected power strips that have no surge protector bypass switch. The key distinction is the surge protection component, which regulates the electrical load and reduces fire risk. The quick rule: pack only a UL-listed surge-protected power strip with no on and off switch on the surge protector itself. Exact steps: before your cruise, search for a cruise-approved power strip on Amazon or any major retailer. Look for a compact UL-listed model with surge protection built in and no master switch. Brands like Trip Lite make models specifically popular with cruisers. Pack it in your carry-on, not your checked luggage, so it is accessible from the moment you board. A passenger I spoke with after a Caribbean sailing told me she had brought the same power strip on 3 previous cruises with no issue, then had it confiscated on her 4th sailing when the line updated its policy. Checking before each trip, not just once, is the right habit. Having the right power strip means your devices stay charged, your CPAP machine runs without interruption, and your cabin functions the way you need it to from night 1. If having everything organized like this ahead of time makes your planning easier, that's exactly what we do inside Cruise Navigator Pro. I'll leave the link below. Now, let's keep going. Number 8. Medications. The rules that could strand you without what you need. This tip is one of the most serious on the list. and it is one that the cruise lines themselves handle inconsistently, which makes it even more important that you understand it before you travel. Prescription medications are permitted on cruise ships. That is the straightforward part. What catches passengers off guard is everything surrounding that basic fact. First, medications must be in their original prescription bottles when possible, with the label matching the passenger's name. Loose pills in unmarked containers or pill organizers without the original bottles can be flagged at security, and in some international ports, they can create complications with customs officials. Second, certain controlled substances, even those legally prescribed in your home country, may be restricted or prohibited in the countries your ship visits. Medications like certain ADHD drugs, strong pain medications, and some anxiety medications fall into different legal categories in different countries. If your ship docks in a port where your medication is classified as a controlled or prohibited substance, you could face a serious legal situation. Third, and most importantly, many passengers pack all their medications in their checked luggage. If that luggage is delayed, misrouted, or temporarily inaccessible during embarkation, they are without their medications on the first night of their trip. The quick rule: all prescription medications travel in your carry-on bag, always, without exception. Exact steps. Before your cruise, ask your prescribing physician or pharmacist to provide a letter on official letterhead listing your name, the medication names, dosages, and the medical necessity for each. Carry this letter in your carry-on alongside your medications. For cruises that visit international ports, spend 10 minutes on the CDC Travel Health website or the website of the foreign embassy relevant to your destination to check for any controlled substance advisories. Your medications are not replaceable mid-ocean. Treating them as your most important carry-on item is simply the right approach. Number 7. Irons, steamers, and heating devices are almost always prohibited. This one surprises a remarkable number of first-time cruisers, especially those who like to arrive at dinner looking well-pressed. Personal irons, clothes steamers, and heating coils are prohibited on virtually every major cruise line. The reason is the same as with power strips: fire risk in an enclosed, highly flammable environment. A ship's cabin has curtains, bedding, wood finishes, and very little ventilation. An unattended iron is a genuine hazard. The confusion arises because many passengers have packed steamers or travel irons for hotels for years without incident and assume the same rules apply at sea. They do not. Here is what most passengers don't realize. The cruise ship offers a solution. Almost every major cruise line provides laundry and pressing services on board. Some ships have self-service laundry rooms where you can iron your own clothing using the iron provided in that supervised space. Premium and luxury lines often include pressing services as part of the fare. The quick rule: leave your iron and steamer at home and plan to use the ship's onboard facilities instead. Exact steps. When you board, ask your cabin steward or check the ship's daily program for the location of the self-service laundry, if available, and the pricing for pressing services. Pack wrinkle-resistant fabrics where possible. Hanging garments in the bathroom while you shower also releases many wrinkles naturally within 30 minutes. A traveler on a 7-night Mediterranean cruise had her brand-new travel steamer confiscated at Embarkation. She spent the rest of the cruise using the ship's pressing service and told me afterward she wished someone had simply warned her before she left home. Knowing this in advance means you pack smarter, arrive without a confiscated item, and still look exactly the way you want to at dinner every evening. We are halfway through this list, and I want to be honest with you. The first 4 tips we covered are important, but the ones coming up next are where the real surprises are, and in some cases, the real consequences. The next 5 tips cover rules that are less obvious, less talked about, and far more likely to catch even experienced cruisers off guard. Getting one of these wrong does not just mean a confiscated item. It can mean a delayed boarding, a missed port, or a problem that follows you for the rest of your vacation. Stay with me. Number 6. Drones are prohibited and the consequences are severe. Drone ownership has grown dramatically in recent years, and a growing number of travelers bring them along hoping to capture stunning aerial footage of the ports they visit. On a cruise, this creates a serious and immediate problem. Drones are prohibited on almost every major cruise ship, both on the ship itself and in the ports visited as part of a cruise itinerary. The reasons are multiple. Drones pose a collision risk to the ship's navigation equipment. They are prohibited in the airspace above many international ports, and they represent a privacy concern for other passengers on deck. The consequences of being caught with a drone on a cruise ship go beyond simple confiscation. Passengers have been disembarked, meaning removed from the ship at the next port, for attempting to fly drones from the vessel. In some ports, local authorities have detained travelers for flying drones without permits in restricted airspace. This is where many travelers get it wrong. They check whether drones are allowed in their home country, find that they are perfectly legal, and assume that rule transfers to their cruise. It does not. Maritime law, international airspace regulations, and individual port authority rules all apply. The quick rule: do not bring a drone on a cruise unless you have researched and confirmed in writing both the cruise line's policy and the specific port authority regulations for every port on your itinerary. Exact steps: visit your cruise line's prohibited items page directly. Then search each port of call along with the words drone regulations and the name of the relevant country. If you want aerial footage of cruise destinations, consider purchasing it from licensed local photographers in port, which is both legal and often surprisingly affordable. The footage is not worth the consequence. Leave the drone at home and enjoy the view from the deck. If navigating all of these rules feels overwhelming, Cruise Navigator Pro is a structured, step-by-step community that walks you through exactly what to pack, what to avoid, and how to protect yourself before you board. You can find the link in the description. Now let's keep going. Number 5. What you cannot bring into the ship's port countries. Most passengers think about cruise carry-on rules only in terms of what the ship allows. Very few think about what the countries on their itinerary allow, and that oversight can create a serious problem at port. When you disembark at a port of call, you are entering a foreign country. That country's customs and import laws apply to everything in your bag. Items that are perfectly legal in the United States or Canada may be restricted or prohibited in the Bahamas, Mexico, certain Caribbean islands, or Mediterranean countries. Common examples include certain food items, particularly fresh fruits, meats, and dairy products that many passengers carry as snacks. Some countries prohibit them entirely to protect local agriculture. Aerosol cans above a certain size are restricted in some ports. And as mentioned with medications, certain over-the-counter products in your home country may be prescription-only or prohibited in the country you are visiting. What most passengers don't realize is that if you are caught carrying a prohibited item into a foreign port, the cruise line cannot intervene on your behalf. You are under the jurisdiction of that country's customs authority. The quick rule: before any cruise that visits international ports, spend 20 minutes reviewing the customs restrictions for each country on your itinerary. Exact steps: the U.S. Embassy website for each destination country has a section on customs and import restrictions. The USDA also maintains a searchable database of agricultural restrictions by country. For food items specifically, the safest approach is to consume or discard snacks before disembarking rather than carrying them ashore. This is a small amount of preparation that prevents a genuinely stressful situation at a port checkpoint. Number 4. The carry-on items that protect you. If your checked bag is lost, checked luggage on a cruise ship operates differently from checked luggage on a flight, and many passengers don't understand the timeline until it creates a problem. When you arrive at the pier and hand your large suitcases to the porters, those bags are loaded onto the ship and delivered to your cabin. That process takes time. On a busy embarkation day, your checked bags may not arrive at your cabin until late afternoon or early evening, sometimes as late as 7 or 8 o'clock at night. In the meantime, you have boarded the ship, the vessel has departed, and you are at sea without access to anything in your checked luggage. Passengers who packed their swimsuit, their formal dinner outfit for the first night, their medications, their travel documents, or their phone charger in their checked bag are the ones standing in the guest services line at 6 in the evening, frustrated and underprepared. The quick rule: your carry-on bag should contain everything you need for the first 12 hours on the ship, regardless of when your checked luggage arrives. Exact steps: pack your carry-on with your medications, travel documents including your passport and booking confirmation, phone charger, and a power bank, one change of clothes including swimwear if you plan to use the pool on embarkation day, any valuables, and any essential toiletries. Think of your carry-on as your first night survival kit. Everything else can wait in the checked bag. When your luggage arrives at your cabin that evening, unpacking feels relaxed and easy rather than urgent and stressful. You have stayed with me this far, and I want you to know that what comes next is the most valuable part of this entire video. The final 3 tips cover the carry-on rules and strategies that most passengers never discover until something goes wrong. These are not common knowledge. They are not listed prominently in your booking confirmation, and getting one of them wrong can cost you real money, real time, or a genuinely difficult situation on what should be one of the best trips of your life. We are almost at number 1. Stay for it. It is the most actionable, most overlooked, and most impactful tip on this entire list. Number 3. Valuables, jewelry, and what the cruise line will not cover. This tip involves money, and specifically, it involves money that passengers lose and cannot recover because they did not understand one critical policy before they boarded. Cruise lines limit their liability for lost, stolen, or damaged personal property. The specific cap varies by cruise line, but it is written into the passenger contract you agreed to when you booked your ticket. For most major lines, that liability cap for personal items is somewhere between $300 and $800 per passenger. For a piece of jewelry, a camera, or a laptop worth significantly more than that, the difference is your loss, not theirs. What most passengers don't realize is that standard homeowners and renters insurance policies in the United States and Canada typically extend some coverage to personal property while traveling. But that coverage requires that you documented the item's value before departure, and there are usually per-item caps and deductibles that apply. The quick rule: any item in your carry-on that is worth more than $500 should have documented proof of value and should be covered by either a travel insurance policy with a personal property rider or your existing homeowner's policy before you board. Exact steps. Before your trip, photograph your valuables and email those photos to yourself to create a time-stamped record. Check your homeowner's or renter's insurance policy for off-premises personal property coverage limits. If you are traveling with jewelry or electronics worth more than your policy covers, consider a standalone valuables rider, which most insurance companies offer at very low annual cost. And while on board, use the in-room safe every time you leave your cabin, not occasionally, every time. One couple on a Mediterranean cruise returned to their cabin on day 3 to find a camera worth $1,200 missing. The cruise line's liability cap reimbursed them $400. They had no additional coverage. Preparing this one thing before departure would have changed that outcome entirely. Number 2. Carry on items that actually speed up your embarkation. We have spent most of this video discussing what not to bring and what to be careful about. This tip is different. This one is about what you should absolutely make sure is in your carry-on, because it actively makes your boarding experience faster, smoother, and more enjoyable. Embarkation day on a cruise can involve long lines, security screenings, health form check-ins, and a considerable amount of waiting. Most passengers experience this as an unavoidable inconvenience, but a small number of well-prepared travelers move through the process noticeably faster, and the difference is almost entirely in what they packed in their carry-on. Here is what belongs in the top pocket of your carry-on, accessible without digging: your passport, your cruise booking confirmation either printed or pulled up on your phone with the screen brightness turned up, your completed health declaration form. If your cruise line requires one, a pen because you will almost always need one, and almost nobody has one, and a small folder or zip pouch that keeps all of these together. Passengers who arrive at each checkpoint already holding the correct document move through the queue faster, create less stress for themselves, and board in a noticeably better mood. Beyond documents, experienced cruisers also carry a small day bag within their carry-on, essentially a lightweight tote or backpack, so that once they board and their cabin is ready, they can transfer their day essentials into that smaller bag and leave the carry-on in the cabin. This means they can go directly to the pool, the buffet, or the spa without lugging a full bag around the ship on their first afternoon. The quick rule: organize your carry-on so the most frequently needed items are immediately accessible, and nest a lightweight day bag inside for use once you board. Exact steps: the night before your cruise, lay out your passport, booking confirmation, health forms, and a pen, and place them in one dedicated outer pocket. Pack your day bag inside your main carry-on. When you board, take 5 minutes to transition your daily essentials into the day bag and store your carry-on in the cabin closet. You are now free to enjoy your first afternoon without carrying anything unnecessary. The passengers who start Embarkation Day organized arrive on board relaxed. That feeling carries through the entire first day, and often the entire cruise. Number 1. The prohibited items list is not the same on every cruise line, and here is exactly how to check yours. Everything we have covered today has been grounded in what most major cruise lines prohibit or require. But here is the most important thing I want to leave you with, and it is the reason this is number 1 on this list. There is no single universal list of prohibited carry-on items that applies to every cruise line, every ship, and every itinerary. Royal Caribbean's policy differs from Carnival's, Norwegian's differs from Celebrity's, and the policies change, sometimes annually, sometimes more frequently than that. The single most expensive mistake a cruise passenger can make is preparing for their trip based on general information, a YouTube video, a travel blog, or advice from a friend who sailed a different line 2 years ago, without ever reading the actual current policy from their specific cruise line directly. Here is why this matters so much. If a prohibited item is found in your carry-on at embarkation, you have 4 options. You can check it in your luggage if there is still time. You can hand it to someone who is not sailing with you. You can abandon it. Or in some cases, the item is held by the ship and returned at the end of the cruise. In all of these scenarios, you are standing at the pier, holding up the line, and starting your vacation with a stressful and entirely avoidable situation. The quick rule: visit your cruise line's official website and search for their prohibited items list no earlier than 2 weeks before your sailing date, because policies update and you want the current version. Here are the exact steps. Go to your cruise line's official website. In the search bar, type the words prohibited items, or what to pack, or carry-on restrictions. Read the full current list, then cross-reference it with this list from today's video. If you are sailing on a line you have not used before, pay particular attention to the alcohol policy, the electronics policy, and any destination-specific restrictions related to your ports of call. And here is the exact phrase you can use if you are ever unsure about a specific item and want to get a definitive answer before you arrive at the pier. Call the cruise line's customer service number and say, "I want to confirm whether a specific item is permitted in my carry-on before I board. Can you check your current prohibited items policy for me and confirm this in writing?" Asking for written confirmation, whether by email or a confirmation number, protects you if there is any inconsistency at the pier. This one habit, checking the actual current policy for your specific line before every single sailing, eliminates nearly every carry-on surprise this video has described. It takes less than 15 minutes and gives you complete confidence on embarkation day. If this video helped you, Cruise Navigator Pro is where we go deeper. It's a private community built specifically for cruise travelers who want to avoid costly mistakes and board with confidence. Members get structured packing systems, policy updates, and direct answers to their questions before they sail. Members tell me the biggest benefit isn't the checklists, it's boarding knowing they didn't miss anything. Preventing even one mistake can easily cover the cost. There's no long-term commitment. Join before your cruise, use it, and decide if it's right for you. If you have a sailing coming up, the link is below. And now, if you want to make sure you have covered every angle before your cruise, do not miss my video on the 15 cruise mistakes you must avoid on your first cruise. It picks up exactly where this video leaves off and covers the onboard mistakes that cost passengers the most money and enjoyment. I will leave it right here for you. Go ahead and click, and I will see you in the next one.